Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Today's truth bomb is we all just want to be seen and heard, no exceptions. And I'm interpreting that to mean the seen and heard different voices in ourselves. We all just want to be seen and heard, no exceptions. Good morning. Whoops. Good morning. How are you? The internal voices need to be seen and heard. Good morning, good morning. How are you? It's getting warmer. We have flowers. We have daffodils coming up. We're planting. We have seedlings. Hello. Yay. Thanks for the hearts and shares and your presents. Yeah, daffodils are coming up. I'm so excited. I'm ready for winter to be, not that we had a bad winter, but, I'm ready to be outside more. And my screen looks a little glitchy, so hopefully it's coming through for you guys. You guys. So, let's get to our Tao Te Ching. Okay, good. I felt like there was something I wanted to tell you. It must have been really important because I can't remember. Yeah, I want to be outside more. 56 followers, yeah. Yeah, they pop up. I check every day. And there's sometimes there's always 2 or 3. Sometimes there's 15 or 20. Yeah. Let's think about this instead. And just as a reminder, if you're starting a physical, or if you're starting a new spiritual practice with this new moon, or you're starting a new mantra or whatever, just remember that when you start new things, when you start reaching for an improved quality of life, you're using a new oil, you're using a new mantra, a new meditation, some kind of daily practice, that it does bring stuff up. So the peaceful place you're seeking through meditation or whatever, is down the road a little piece. It brings stuff up as to why you don't feel peaceful right now. It brings stuff up for you to see that you've been tolerating in your life that needs to be resolved or settled. I put a journal prompt in the level 2 desire map group. Yes. So you have to clear out all the junk first. Yeah. So the more love you pour into your life, the more that's not love gets tossed up for you to see. You can't... It's very similar to our truth bomb today. We all just want to be seen and heard, no exceptions. We, meaning the emotions and the voices and the things inside of us that we cast away. The things that we reject and then become our shadow. When we shine love and peace and new healthy things into our lives, we're shining a spotlight on those shadowy areas so we can see them. And seeing them and hearing them and witnessing them and feeling whatever emotions you've kicked off to the side is the way to bring that in, and you'll feel more of that love and more of that peace in your life every day. But be aware that a lot of times what that process looks like is people around us acting like idiots. Like our spouse can suddenly be super annoying. Our kids can start driving us crazy. Things go wrong. Accidents happen. Everything that triggers your story. Your kids. Your theme. Like, I never. So listen in your head for things like, I never... no one ever, this always. Yeah, there's trapped energy in the shadow, and the more you clear it out, the more physical energy you have. Like, you'll wake up with more energy, you'll get through the day with more energy, but the process of that can be pretty bumpy. So listen for those kinds of statements. No one ever helps me. I can't get what I want. This always happens to me. Those kinds of patterns. Look for patterns in your life. That all gets kicked up when you start a new practice, especially if you're using one of the oils that smooths the way for a lot of emotional growth. or you're doing a meditation practice, or even starting a new exercise program, yeah, it's going to kick up your patterns, and you're going to see what's in between you, what your shadow areas are. Doing the statement of, I love the part of me that, fill in the blank, is extremely powerful. Yes, oils are amazing for healing. I love the part of me that thinks she always gets abandoned. I love the part of me that feels like everything always goes wrong, or whatever it is for you. Yeah, it's really helpful because it's an immediate acceptance of the shadow part. The shadow part has a lot of information and love, and a new meditation, a new yoga practice, a new commitment to peace. Just shines a light on all that and gives you a great opportunity to work with it. When what it does is make us want to quit. You're like, damn it, I started this yoga practice, now my life's in the shitter. And that's not it at all. The crud is bubbling to the surface for you to embrace and accept it. And that's all you have to do is embrace and accept. Good morning, Cynthia. Embrace and accept. That's it. Say, I love that part of you. So much comes up. Yeah, your relationships and stuff like that can look really wacky for a while. Be patient and don't give up. Please don't give up. Because if you give up, at some point your soul's going to push you to start again, and you're going to be starting all over. So just keep going, wading through the muck. Embrace and accept. Pray. Ask for divine intervention. You can have that. Yes, good. Good. Okay, so 63 is where we're at today. Practicing the Tao is a way of doing that. I read an article this morning about this Pisces new moon that said you really don't have to do anything. Just feel the feels. That's all you got to do. Feel the feels, acknowledge them, accept them. Don't judge yourself for them. Don't judge yourself for judging. Very nice. Don't let other people's projections onto you affect you. I sometimes say, I don't say it as much anymore, but I used to have to say a lot, don't put that shit on me. You wrote out a note to yourself. Good. Yes, new moon, set your intentions. Set your intentions to accept all the rejected parts of you. Don't put that shit on me. Take your hit, have your fit, move on. That's a t-shirt. That's a tweetable. Take your hit, have your fit, and move on. Accept and move on. The gift of the way. Nope. We're on 63 today. Consider beginnings. Okay? So this is a beginning. This is a new moon. Thanks for sharing this out. Let's treat today as a new beginning. And what is in my book? I think my book's been toddlered. Yuck, it's got something sticky. Okay, whatever. Do without doing. Act without action. Savor the flavorless. Treat the small as large and the few as many. This is important. Meet injury with the power of goodness. Study the hard while it's easy. Do big things while they're small. The hardest jobs in the world start out easy. The great affairs of the world start small. So the wise soul, by never dealing with great things, gets great things done. Now, since taking things too lightly makes them worthless and taking things too easy makes them hard, the wise soul, by treating the easy as hard, doesn't find anything hard. So her notes at the bottom say, Whaley says that this charmingly complex chapter plays with two proverbs. Requite injuries with good deeds is the first. The word de, te, here meaning goodness or good deeds, is the same word Lao Tzu uses for the power of the way. Power is goodness. So having neatly annexed the golden rule, he goes on to the proverb about taking things too lightly and plays paradox with it. Treat the small as large and the few as many really stands out to me. To me, that says treat your problems as important. Juliana, did you get your package? Treat the small issues as large, meaning treat things that are small as important. Your small 5-minute daily practice is large because it's so important. Good. Small miscommunications with your partner can be given the importance of something large, and they never get large. So it's stopping the big blow up before it happens, before things build up to become a blow up, including within yourself. You have a small little nagging feeling that something's not right. Pay attention while it's small so that you don't have to get hit in the head with the cosmic 2x4, because that's what has happened to some of us at some points in our lives. Treat the few as many. There's a book called Zombie Loyalists that talks that talks about treating the people you're trying to serve as your ultimate customers now. Too many business people are waiting. I don't know what they're waiting for. If you have one customer, you treat that customer like a king or queen. If you have 10 customers, the same. You don't wait until you have 100 customers before you start treating people well, or you won't ever have 100 customers. Treat your customers that you have to treat the people in front of you right now as though they are already your loyal customers that you love serving. That's how I approach anybody I'm working with. Every single person matters to me. The few are treated as I would treat the many or anybody. Meet injury with the power of goodness. That's extremely important. And that applies to what we were just talking about. Meet your injuries with love. Meet your petty parts with love. I hear that word a lot when people start doing the desire map process. Like, I was writing these things down and I feel petty and I feel childish. Okay. It probably is petty and childish. And that's part of you. And that's okay. It's just part of you. It's just energy. It's something that we do, and we don't stop doing it until we've fully accepted that we do that, and then it just naturally goes away. We don't stop gossiping until we fully accept the naughty part of us that gossips. Gossip's fun until it's not anymore. And to rail against that part and feel ashamed of it just keeps it steady within you, and you'll find yourself engaging in that behavior even when you swore to yourself you weren't going to. Study the hard while it's easy. Do big things while they're small. Don't let things hang out there nagging at you. It takes up your energy, and it then turns into big things. I don't know what in the world. I know what I did. This little string dipped in my tea and got all over the book. Whatever. Okay, let's see what... This is what 63 looks like. 63. It's been toddlered. But it's wonderful. So act without doing, work without effort. Think of the small as large and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it's still easy. Yes, I'll treasure this. Avery did it. Accomplish the great task by a series of small acts, small steps. Tiny micro movements create macro change. Tiny micro movements create macro change. Big change comes from little teeny tiny steps. The master never reaches for the great, thus she achieves greatness. She's mindful, she's present, she's focused on the task that's right here, not the task that's way out there. When you suddenly get hit with anxiety, chances are, if you take a look, you've thought too many steps ahead. You've thought too far ahead and you need to just pull it back in and take a tiny, tiny step. When she runs into a difficulty, she stops and gives herself to it. She pays attention. She doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus, problems are no problem for her. She doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus, problems are no problem for her. She understands that life is up and down, in and out. It's pain and peace. It's happiness and sadness. It's all of it. All of it. So she doesn't hang on to any part of it because she knows that if happiness is here right now, sadness is sure to follow. And happiness is sure to follow that. And anger will follow that. And peace will follow that. It's just that. It's just that. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just that. Let's see what Byron Katie says. This is a good one today. I really like it. 63. Oh, it's life. It's just that life thing. My name's Michelle Wolf, and you can find me here at CaddyshackDesigns.com. At the top are tabs for everything I do. The Desire Map Workshops list are at tinyurl.com/wolf events. WOLFF events. That's my events page, and it has everything on it that's coming up. Okay, 63, act without doing. When I pick up one of my adorable little granddaughters, wipe her nose, kiss her, put her in her high chair, and feed her, I do that twice, so on you, Byron Katie, try doing that double. I do this not only for me, but to me as well. Loving her is loving myself. I don't see any difference. And because I love myself, I can love everyone who comes into my life. At the age of 43, I became my first child. I loved me, and that love was without condition. It's the power of one. Because I loved me, this one apparent person, hundreds of thousands of people are learning to love themselves. That's what they tell me. Okay? She took the step of loving herself and dissecting, deconstructing her stories, and we get the benefit of that because she shared it with others. And now we share it with others, and we change our lives, and by changing our lives, we change everyone around us. I fell in love with myself one morning in February of 1986. I had checked myself into a halfway house in LA after years of suicidal depression. A week or so later, as I lay on the floor of my attic room, I felt too unworthy to sleep in a bed. She slept on the floor because she didn't feel like she deserved a bed. A cockroach crawled over my foot, and I opened my eyes. For the first time in my life, I was seeing without concepts, without thoughts or an internal story. All my rage, all the thoughts that had been troubling me, my whole world, the whole world was gone. There was no me. It was as if something else had woken up. It opened its eyes. It was looking through Katie's eyes. And it was crisp, bright. It was new. It had never been here before. Everything was unrecognizable, and it was so delighted. Laughter welled up from the depths and just poured out. It breathed and was ecstasy. There was nothing separate and nothing unacceptable to it. For the first time, it, experienced the love of its own life, and it, was amazed. All this took place beyond time, but when I put it into language, I have to backtrack and fill in. While I was lying on the floor, I understood that when I was asleep, prior to cockroach or foot, prior to thoughts, there is nothing. In that instant, the 4 questions of the work were born. I understood that no thought is true. The whole of inquiry was already present in that understanding. It was like closing a gate and hearing it click shut. It wasn't I who woke up, inquiry woke up. The 2 polarities, the left and right of things, the something nothing of it all woke up, and both sides were equal. I understood this in that first instant of no time. To say it again, as I was lying there in the awareness, the thought arose, it's a foot. And I immediately saw it wasn't true, and that was the delight of it. I saw that it was all backwards. It's not a foot, it's not a cockroach, it's not true. And yet there was a foot and there was a cockroach, but there was no name for any of these things. There were no separate words for wall, ceiling, face, any of it. So it was looking at its entire body with no name. Nothing was separate from it, nothing outside. It was all pulsing with life, and it was all one unbroken experience. To separate that wholeness, to see anything outside of itself, wasn't true. And it also felt absurd. The laughter just kept pouring out of me. I saw that cockroach and foot are names for joy, that there are 1,000 names for joy, and yet there is no name for what appears as real now. This was the birth of awareness, thought reflecting back as itself, seeing itself as everything surrounded by the vast ocean of its own laughter. Then it stood up, and that was amazing. There was no thinking, no plan. It just stood up and walked to the bathroom, to the mirror, and locked eyes onto its own reflection, and it understood. And that was even deeper than the delight it had known before when it first opened its eyes. It fell in love with that being in the mirror. It was as if the woman and the awareness of the woman had permanently merged. There were only the eyes and a sense of absolute vastness with no knowledge in it. It was as if she, had been shot through with electricity. It was like God giving itself life through the body of the woman. God so loving and bright, so vast, and yet she knew it was herself. It made such a deep connection with her eyes. There was no meaning to it, just a nameless recognition that consumed her. Love is the best word I can find for it. It had been split apart, and now it was joined. There was it moving, then it in the mirror, and then it joined. As quickly as it had separated, it was all eyes. It gave itself back as it met again, and that gave its identity, which I call love. As it looked in the mirror, the eyes, the depth, were all that was real. Prior to that, nothing. And then the eyes come out to give it what it is. People name things: a wall, ceiling, foot, hand, but it had no name for these things because it's indivisible and it's invisible until the eyes. I remember tears of gratitude pouring down the cheeks as it looked at its own reflection. It stood there staring for I don't know how long. These were the first moments after I was born as it, or it as me. There was nothing left of Katie. There was literally not even a shred of memory, and in that openness, such joy. There's nothing sweeter than this, I felt. There is nothing but this. If you loved yourself more than anything you could imagine, you would give yourself this: a face, a hand, breath. But that's not enough. A wall, a ceiling, a window, and this too, and this too, and this too. I felt that if my joy were told, it would blow the roof off the halfway house, off the whole planet, and I still feel that way. How's that? In my mind, yes. In my mind, that is what the Course in Miracles talks to us about. It's what Jesus spoke to us about. It's what Buddha and Muhammad and all the prophets, Baha'u'llah, the goddesses, the people, Mary, whoever. It's everybody. It's everything that has been spoken to us, and yet we haven't always had the experience of it. I've had that experience enough that I remember it, but I forget to live it, and I have to consciously draw back in time. I have to consciously go back in time and reactivate it. To me, that is divine ease. That's my core desired feeling for this year and maybe for the rest of my life. When you're in that space, when you have a moment where it all falls away, you can't help but laugh. You can't help it. I've had that happen in churches. I've had it happen during heavy sessions of chanting at the Soka Gakkai Buddhist Center in Denver. It's just like you have this moment where you see it all for what it is, and it's hilarious. And it's hard to maintain. And she didn't maintain that either without work. Somewhere else, it may be later in the book, she spoke of how many hours she spent at her kitchen table doing worksheets. When her kids would make her mad, when her ex-husband would upset her, she understood that it was that separate part of her. They don't laugh anyway. They don't need to understand. We don't have to worry about what other people are doing, whether they know what we know, whether they know what we're doing. Just by our doing it, we uplift them. We uplift ourselves and we uplift them. They don't have to know. Eventually they'll ask you why you're so damn happy. Why are you laughing? Well, let me tell you. Here's a website. Here's a book. Do this and it will change your life. It's all okay. In fact, worrying about what other people are doing or thinking or what they know or don't know about us takes us out of that space. That's why you don't need to worry about it. When they're ready, they'll ask you. That's how you know. When they start getting curious and asking you questions, like, what are you reading? Or how come you're so peaceful today? And, what's up with you? That's the indication that they're ready, is because they're asking. Before that, you can kind of gently offer. You can say, hey, I just read this cool book. It's on the dining room table if you're interested. Yeah. Yes, perfect. I just watched this cool show. Here's the name of it. I email stuff to people all the time. Probably 90% of the time they don't go to the link, and that's okay. I'm just dropping the seed. Here's some information. Plop. It's there. If that person's ready, they'll open it. If they're ready, they'll read it, and it will go forward from there. But I don't have any responsibility for that. I'm just passing on information. So I say that to Heath, hey, watch this movie with me. Here's what I got out of it. He won't read books unless, it's some sex technique or something. He's not interested in reading, but he will watch a movie. It is like desire mapping. How many times have I posted on Facebook? And how many posts have I put about how my life has changed? And yet people still don't, Erin, I think you may be the first person who's taken me up on a workshop that I knew before. I'll have to think about it. Other than, my mom and my sister and my friend Bev. But I think only a couple of people have taken a workshop from me. But that's okay. I just put it out there. Eventually, it lights up. When you're ready, it lights up. And you just find yourself doing it. That's what I mean when I'm always saying desire mapping with Danielle Laporte, DanielleLaporte.com. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, you don't have to be injured to want this work. You just have to have that Yeah. My mom told me about Young Living Oils for years, and I blew it off. Danielle, DANIELLE, Laporte.com. There's a section on desire mapping, and that's the workshops that I teach. It's all in the right timing. Yes, thank you. CaddyshackDesigns.com. There's a tab that says Desire Map Workshops, and you can get information there. You can also go to the events page. There's the descriptions there, tinyurl.com/wolf events. So all we have to do is do our own work. And everything else comes from that. You'll find yourself taking action on the things that are healthy for you without you having to take a whip to your back to do it. I've been testing this out with different things for weeks. I knew I needed to get off sugar again, but that is typically a very painful white knuckle hanging off the ledge process, like an addiction. It is an addiction. Sugar is terrible on your brain. Okay, so this time, working these principles, one day, it had been 3 days since I had eaten sugar and I hadn't even noticed. I like to test things out. Yeah. Yes, addiction is sugar is an addiction just like any other. Quitting sugar used to be as hard for me as quitting smoking. And quitting smoking was similar to what heroin addicts describe as their quitting process because it was horrible. And I did it more than once before it stuck. But so 3 days I didn't eat sugar and I didn't even notice. And on the third day I had a little bit of a craving. Well, I'm past it now, but I did try hypnosis then. I mean, I could wear a nicotine patch and still smoke. I had to wear 2 nicotine patches, do a lot of emotional freedom tapping, the tapping on the meridians of your body, before I could finally get past it. Yeah, sugar. Yeah, when it's time, it just happens. When you've let go of the reasons you're doing it, I was dying, Roseanne. I was dying from the smoking. I could feel it. So that was a fear-based response. Like, I can feel myself literally dying. It's the same thing for however you found your spiritual practice. Yeah, like I was just dying. If you look back in time, you just started doing it. You probably heard it for years and you just started doing it. Oh, thanks. Takes one to know one. So your family and your friends will do the same. When it will light up when it's time for them and it will click and they'll start asking questions and they'll just start doing it. So we don't have to try so hard. When we try so hard, we actually complicate it and we prevent our forward motion. And that's okay. We do it until we're done doing it. And then we don't do it anymore. Then we let go more. And we don't even really let go. We just relax. We just relax into the oneness. That was awesome. She said you can't kiss them in the ass. She meant kick them in the ass. Autocorrect changed it to kiss. I know, I saw that vision too. I was like, oh no, you don't do that. Well, I mean, I guess in the privacy of your own home, 2 consenting adults can do whatever they want. No, you can't kick them in the ass. Sometimes you can make people do things because they're afraid of losing you. Oh, shit. That's awesome. I'll be laughing about that all day. Thank you. Yeah, you can make them if they're scared of losing you, but it won't last. You can make your spouse go to counseling. So here's what, I made my ex go to counseling and he just faked it all the way through. And then it hurt even more because I found out he was just faking it through instead of actually participating. What I should have done is just gone by myself and worked on myself rather than trying to make him do it. It just didn't work. And so I never even tried that with Heath. I was like, we're either together or we're not, and I'm going to do my thing, and you can come along if you like. And I tried to get rid of him for a long time, and he wouldn't leave. And over time, he's picking this stuff up. I mean, he has a mala in his truck, for crying out loud. The little prayer bead mala that my mom sent him. When I first met him, he would have been like, what the fuck is this? I'm not wearing this. I'm not putting this in my truck. Yeah, I mean, it's taken a long time. But he came to it on his own accord. He totally loved it. He totally loved it. He was so happy when he found out she'd made him one, and he kept asking, had it come yet? That wouldn't have happened if I'd tried to shove it down his throat. Yeah, I was pretty impressed. And I would have been okay if he hadn't. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they were thrilled, both of them. So, do your own work. Listen to the stirrings in your heart while they're just stirrings in your heart. So if you're feeling the pull to do something different, explore it now while you still have options before you get fired. While you still have a marriage before you end up in divorce court and you're like, where'd that come from? If you're feeling the desire to write, just pick up a piece of paper and write. If you're feeling the desire to paint or draw, pick up a pencil and draw. Yeah, it takes practice, Aaron. It's not concrete. It's just a little quiet. It's the still, small voice while your daughter still talks. Yes. Yeah. It's a still, it's a still, small voice. If you don't know where to start by making your bed. That's excellent advice. If you don't know where to start with this stuff, start for sitting 5 minutes a day and watching your breathing. That's it. Just watch yourself breathe. Just feel the air coming in. Just feel it going out. Just notice the quality of your breathing. That's the simplest way to start meditating. Wash the dishes. Yeah. Is it Jack Cornfield that says after meditation, the dishes? Or after meditation, the laundry? Something like that. After meditation, the laundry. Start there. Driving can be a mindfulness practice. All it takes is putting your full attention on you. So your thoughts are on your kids, on your job, on your place where you live. They're in the... Yeah, you're welcome. You're totally welcome, Carrie. Have a great day. They're in the past, they're in the future. Pull your attention to now. On the future. After the ecstasy, the laundry. Yes, thank you, Tina. Yeah, see you, Aaron. Have a great day. After meditation, the fucking grocery store. That's awesome, Michelle. Damn it. That's what we have to do today, too. I have to go mail. Yeah, after the ecstasy, the laundry. It's so perfect. Or the housework. See, you just typed it and I still can't remember it. Anyway, it's a great book. Jack Cornfield's a great writer. Sylvia Boorstein is a great writer. She's a Jewish Buddhist. She writes great stuff about accepting yourself. Sylvia Boorstein. Boorstein. So, I have to go to UPS and overnight a package to Canada, which still takes 2 nights because I'm assuming it didn't get there today. Canada. It's not even that far away. I could have driven it there by now. You're welcome. And I have to go to the fucking grocery store. I hate the grocery store, but we gotta eat. So, listen to the still small voice. Sit with your emotions. Ask for help if you need it. I don't know how to sit with my emotions, people say. So ask. Ask yourself, how do I sit with this feeling that's so uncomfortable? How do I feel it in my body? Where is it in my body? Asking questions will bring you the answers. And just be kind to yourself. And don't worry about what other people are doing. All right. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow is Big Magic again. What's tomorrow? Thursday? So it'll be from here. Hey, you're welcome. I love Dr. Jean Grey. All right, bye.